I'm a bad motherfucker.
Roll.
Okay, you are set. I'm making sure. Yes. Okay. Andrew, you can come back to Russ.
Wow. Well, it's a good thing I didn't give my home address.
Yeah.
So we are joined by Mr. Keaton Weiss. What's up, Keaton? How's it going?
What's up, you Safaka lemurs? Hope we're ready to have fun today.
We are ready to have fun.
Yeah.
I know you already did a show, so you better not give us your B material. We expect you
No.
to show up.
No, I phoned it in on Due Dissidence today.
Yeah.
I had Nick and CJ do the heavy lifting.
Nick
Yeah.
and CJ can carry a show. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we
Oh, yeah.
can't. We need you. We need you. They
There you
don't.
go. Well, I'm here.
And we have back from his world tour of interviews, Mr. Kurt Metzger. Man, I couldn't turn on fucking YouTube. They bounced Lex Friedman for you. I'd fall asleep. I wake up.
Finally.
Kurt's talking to somebody. Every time I look at YouTube, Kurt's talking to somebody else.
I know. I first of all, that Lex Friedman thing, I get the same thing where I put on stuff to go to sleep.
Yep.
And then for some reason it's Lex Friedman.
You wake up to Lex Friedman, man.
And I'm
it
like,
doesn't matter.
why do you think? And I think because it's played while I was asleep.
That's what the women who live in his building say.
I don't care about. Although I did
allegedly.
Dude, I love Lex Friedman and Norman Finkelstein. Lex Friedman's Norman Finkelstein versus Destiny.
Yeah.
The king of the Jews,
That
Norman
was-
Finkelstein.
yeah.
I'm absolutely great. I can't stand Destiny.
Nobody can figure out, like, did Friedman put Destiny in there to get those kinds of viral clips? Because clearly you don't put Norm Finkelstein, the other professors who are in that room, and Destiny. You don't put Destiny in a room with these three.
Has Lex Friedman
heavy hitters.
achieved general artificial intelligence? That's what it indicates to me.
That's
He's become a living AI.
Probably.
Yeah.
The chat GPT engine.
He's become aware, Lex Friedman.
Said that will go viral if you put this moron in with three serious scholars. Everyone's going to be talking about it. There's
Even
no
his
way that
guy
ends
with
well.
him couldn't believe the idiot.
Yes.
Like-
No, his guy was laughing.
And Destiny's not even like a real dwarf. He's like a special effects Peter Jackson prosthetic dwarf in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did Finkelstein say, Keaton?
You're such a fantastic moron.
Mr. Borelli.
Painful. That was all when he's closing his eyes and puts his hands up. It's so painful. Because he ran out of patience. Like, Norm didn't come out swinging. Like, he didn't start really digging at him until like 3 hours in. You know, for the first couple of hours, he was a pro. But you could only hear that for so long before.
Absolutely.
Especially a guy like Norm. Yeah.
First of all, what kind of a creep are you during a goddamn genocide? You want to bring up the concept of mens rea. That's why I hate these like debate people.
Debate me, bro.
Yeah, it's all that they got to debate about the debate before they even start the fucking debate. And it's this nerd. I want to pull their underwear over their head. It's just like completely disconnected from people being killed because it doesn't touch them. So they can be all.
Well, he's another one who comes out of gaming, right? Like all these
yeah.
really exceptionally stupid ones that have an audience seem to have built an audience gaming.
They should have jobs
and then
in the
started
State
talking
Department.
politics.
That'll take you right to the State Department. You love game theory.
It's true.
Just gaming the system and being like detached from any kind of human emotion. That's perfect. That's a future in government.
In 10 years, we're going to see Hassan working for the State Department. We'll see Destiny in there. Kyle, well, he'll probably be over at MSNBC. All right. So Kurt, you went to Austin.
Yeah, then New York.
Then New York.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in New York. And, okay, so I've had people actually reach out to me.
Yeah.
Because they're getting all of this, drumming up of how dangerous New York is. Now, my experience is really not that. That is not my experience. I live in Harlem. I've lived in Harlem for 17 years. And I am not, I actually...
East or West? Dominican side or black side?
West side.
Okay.
I was hearing so much of this when I was out of town for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would go back and it would be palpably different. Now, the only proviso to this is I'm not tour guiding anymore. So I'm not everywhere like I used to be.
Right.
So I would probably, if it were different, it would be harder for me to notice.
Right.
I can say Harlem is the same as it's always been. It's always been safe as long as I've lived there. You get all that.
Yeah.
You know, not always. In the 70s, it was
when I was
fucked
living
up,
there,
but not for a long time.
I lived by Rayo's in Harlem.
Oh, on the east side. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
then I
east
lived.
side, yeah.
And then I lived in the last place I live is Washington Heights, but I used to live in Alphabet City. They call it East Village now.
I lived in the East Village.
And
I lived on Avenue B and 13th.
Well, I was there for 20 years in all the boroughs, and
Mm-hmm.
like Bushwick, I was in twice, and I saw it when it was first, like loft space. It was like punching girls for the laptop during the .com boom.
Right.
And then that little part with the big old warehouse, it's now apartments. That suddenly had police presence at one point.
Right.
Then it became very safe and like a nice
Right,
sandwich shop
right.
open, And then, but all the safest blocks were like run by some gang. All the blocks I lived on, because it was in their interest to keep it orderly.
All right,
in fact,
like
the
the
one,
mafia.
yeah, the one I lived on in Washington Heights, my weed guy, he goes, listen, I'm getting transferred to what I was on 167. I like the people in there too. Like I would talk to people in the neighborhood, but he goes, I'm getting transferred, and the guys taking over, they're not from this block, so it's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as good of security. Like you hear about cops not being from the neighborhood. It was exactly like that. And anyway, I haven't gone in those neighborhoods, but in the village by where the cellar is, it's out of control.
All right, so
because that's where all the white women are. See,
That's
now the white
goddamn
women
right.
are in the dangerous neighborhood,
And they're not
Now
allowed
it's
to
Soho
report
in
what
the
you look
Village,
like. Also,
Bowery, right? Exactly.
well, okay, so you're having these incidents that definitely, I'm a native New Yorker,
right?
and I can remember when every night on the news there were just stories that were so crazy you didn't know what to make of it. Man is found with head shoved up ass, still directing traffic. It was just madness.
Now born mom and tot slay.
So you're seeing stories that are kind of evocative of that New York I grew up in. Statistically, though, and even just look visibly, if you experienced New York in the 70s and 80s, man,
I did not.
It's not even 10% of the way there. It's not even in the neighborhood of the ballpark of the country what New York was like.
Do you think, because I went as a kid in the 80s, and that was back when all the porno was like plastered on the walls, like split beaver shot porno was. I'm with my parents and my cousins walking on the street. So I experienced, and we took a subway, and it was like crazy. That it looked like Crocodile Dundee. There's some punk rocker screaming, throwing a bottle on the ground. So I saw that as a kid. Then when I got there, it was after
Fun city, man.
Yeah,
Fun
after
city.
Giuliani banned dancing in bars, and somehow it saved the city. I don't know why that made it
that didn't take. I remember that. I was living in the East Village then.
Yeah.
That's when I was in the East Village. All right, so let's talk about Botswana. No, I'm kidding.
It's another episode of New York Stories.
All right, so
with a couple old knickerbockers.
So in honor of Kurt's return, we are going to take a look at some of the crazier stories that are, I believe, and statistically it's true, giving people the misimpression that we're back to old school New York now. All right, so women in New York City are getting randomly punched in the face, and no one knows why.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's no one who doesn't live in New York knows why. So that's a joke. It's a joke. No one should get punched in the face. Several women in New York City have made TikTok videos about being randomly punched in public. The NYPD has confirmed some of these incidents. The surge of attacks has increased fears among women and stokes concerns about rising crime. The bizarre punching epidemic first came to light when Holly Kate, a 23-year-old TikToker living in New York City, posted a now viral video on March 25th in which she said she had been punched in the face while walking down the street. In subsequent videos, Kate explained that she had been looking down at her phone when a man walking a dog either punched or elbowed her in the head, causing her to fall to the ground and hit her head on the sidewalk. All right, so this is the video.
Okay, I just want to give an update on face. I said I was done fucking crying on the internet. But yeah, I'm going to the hospital. I feel like I'm probably, oh my god, it looks like I have a fucking devil horn.
Yeah,
Honestly,
look
that's
at
kind of
that.
fitting. Anyway,
You can see that.
Oh my
I was
god,
just
I
walking
can
through
see it.
the sidewalk, and my head was down. I was like looking at my phone, just sending an email, but there was so much room on the sidewalk, and like literally nobody was around. And I guess this man, I don't know if he punched me or if he owed me. I literally passed out, so I don't really remember. But I think he just was really mad that my head was down. He was walking a dog, so he took it upon himself to body check me and let me know to be conscious of my surroundings, which now I fucking will be. And then I fell to the ground, and I like literally blacked out for a second. But then I got up, and he was screaming at me, and I was just like scared, so I literally just ran away. And then I was like, wait, am I crazy? Like, what the fuck just happened? And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I'm going to just urgent care. That's probably so fucking drama. I could put some frozen peas on it and be fine, but everybody's like, go to urgent care. And since I did black out for a second, maybe just in case I have a concussion or something, I don't know. We'll see.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Dude. That is crazy.
I didn't even notice the lump the first time I watched
I didn't until partway through
until she said it. I was like, oh.
I guess she got hit so hard she couldn't describe the man.
Yeah. Yeah. The NYPD, which does not reveal the identities of victims, confirmed that it had received a report of assault from a 23-year-old woman who had been hit in the head and then fell to the ground and suffered injuries. They said that a 40-year-old man identified as Skibaki Stora had been arrested and charged on March 27th, and the investigation remains ongoing. Stora has previously tried to run for various local government positions, including mayor, governor, and city council. Isn't Jose looking for a running mate?
You think you should bring a Skibbity toilet?
We need someone with experience on that ticket. Kate's original video has been viewed over 40 million times at the time of writing. Since Kate's story went viral, another TikToker's video from a week before resurfaced, in which she also said she had been punched on the street in New York City. Olivia Brand said a man came up to her in the city's Nolita, Soho area and said sorry before punching her in the head. Now that sounds like he did it on a bet, but let's
They've got my family.
I mean, who apologizes? No, that's like there was a movie about this where you get a cell phone.
Yeah, right.
And then it just keeps upping the ante of how much money you'll get if you do this thing.
Yeah, right.
All right, so
isn't the guy that punched them also on TikTok? This is the most bizarre thing is they all are on
maybe
TikTok.
one of them. I don't think there's all one person.
I literally just got punched by some man on the sidewalk. He goes, sorry, and then punches me in the head. Holy fuck, what the hell just happened? Oh my god.
What do you look like?
You can tell with both of them, they're kind of in shock.
Yeah.
You know, like, what? Like, what? Another woman with the username Malos228 said on TikTok that she had been punched in the head by a random man in Times Square. Her video included a clip of a man who she claimed was her attacker walking away. She said she had come forward with her story after seeing the other viral videos about similar attacks. Another TikToker, Michaela Tonentato, posted a video with a visible facial injury, saying she had also been randomly punched as she was exiting the new school on 14th and 5th Avenue. So yeah, I guess you're right, man, because none of this is in my neighborhood. This is all downtown.
No, where are you going to go to? It's like where pigeons
14th
go in the
and
park.
5th, I mean, it's an area you think of as safe. A fifth woman, Selena Picanab, also said on TikTok that a man had punched her in NoHo. Bethany Frankel, a former Apprentice contestant and Real Housewives of New York City cast member, also reported she had been hit on a Manhattan street, said Page 6 earlier this year. It is unclear if the culprit is the same or if multiple men are carrying out the random attacks. The stories come amid fears about rising crime in the city, following a spate of reports of random attacks on the subway system, including one that resulted in a commuter's death. See, this is what I think, because you're getting all the kinds of things that really scare people, but it's not widespread. Like you had a conductor who got his throat cut. Like that's the kind of thing that really like lodges in
like
people's
9/11
minds.
doesn't happen every day, but it really stuck in my craw for a bit.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul said that hundreds of National Guard troops and state troopers were being deployed to the city's subway to address the issue, which, by the way, when I was just back in town, I was only there for 2.5 weeks. I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
I didn't see it either. Despite the recent influx of alarming stories, data shows the crime rates in New York City have decreased in 2024 compared to last year.
That's bullshit. That's because they're not reporting crimes. If the cops aren't going to do shit, you're not going to report it. That's bottom line. They're not getting correct statistics, so you can't go by that.
All right, I will get into that. It is unclear whether more women in the city are being randomly assaulted than usual, or if it just appears that way because the stories have gained traction online. All right, so to address what you're saying, I have definitely noticed that, okay, under the Giuliani Bloomberg regimes, man, when I called the cops, they were there in 10 minutes.
Right.
Now it's like 2 hours because I think, yeah, that used to go on in the 70s and 80s too.
That's right.
When the administrations were very anti-cop
what
very antagonistic, they start to say, well, I'm not going to go.
It's the conditions.
Why bother?
It's the conditions are ripe for a Batman now. I've never seen anything like it in real life in my lifetime, where you literally need a guy to come fight random like the woman puncher. That's like the Joker. You got to have a guy that'll fist fight him, because if you defend yourself, and I've already seen that a bunch of times, if somebody defends themselves and now they're in trouble. So you're not allowed to defend yourself. So you have to wear a disguise. You have to dress up.
Well, you have to have a scientist working with you to make that lightweight Kevlar.
You need all that,
so
and then. But remember Rick Moranis?
You need the anti-gravity cape.
You just got to go out and punch. Remember Rick Moranis got punched in the head just as if he were a woman now? Remember that? That was a big story during the BLM times.
Oh, right.
He was punched in the head before the random Asian punchings. Now, in all of these random punchings, again, of course not reporting it. I texted you this last night. Brooklyn feminism, they should land on an aircraft carrier with a big mission accomplished banner. Because when I left the city, the big problem was men spreading on the subway and catcalling.
Yes.
And it was already the catcalling thing was like, what race is doing that, sweetie? I know you want to keep talking about it. You're saying men. I know I don't do that. Who catcalled you? So they've been trained, especially with the BLM nonsense.
Listen.
They've been trained to take it now.
I grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was, believe me, there was plenty of catcalling. They used to sit there in the park yelling.
This is not
yelling at the women on the street.
But this is not. I'm not talking about, and that 100%. Italians are animals. I'm part Italian.
That was not the point. But, okay.
My mom's Guyanese.
well, they're the worst.
But
they're
the
the worst,
neighborhoods,
especially when you sit them in a room with the BBC.
Dude, it's the neighborhoods they're in. So what happened? And when I moved to New York, I got in almost a fight in every neighborhood I moved in. I got in a confrontation where we were going to fight, and then we ended up being really cool. And it was just a normal thing. You're getting a shouting, or we going to fist fight, and then you be cool with them, and they're like your best friend. But I'll engage people. People were moving in. That's what everybody hated about gentrification was they move in, they don't want to look at anybody. I always make eye contact.
Well, they move into a neighborhood, and then they don't want to live in the neighborhood they moved into. They want to remake it in their own image. Like, I didn't understand why Subway, the franchise, started to appear in New York. I didn't understand why we had Pizza Hut, Keaton's love of baked wings aside.
Yeah.
I didn't understand because you're living in a city that actually has pizza and good sandwiches.
Right.
This is for people who live in places where you can't get those things other than this garbage.
Well,
and then I read a book called The End of the Suburbs that explained that the grandchildren of the white flight generation that had fled the cities had moved back into them.
Oh.
And they brought their suburban tastes with them.
Yeah.
The first time
the
I
right
ever
of
saw
return,
this,
I call it.
I was dating a girl from Michigan.
Yeah.
And she liked Domino's better, and I didn't understand it. How could you like Domino's better?
That is
crazy. I gave her real pizza, but then I realized, well, she's from Michigan.
Yeah.
Like this, she eats this. It's her childhood, right? Like it brings her back.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So
but
anyway,
your neighborhood, by the way, for white women is probably way safer. I had a very small white snow bunny girlfriend for many years in New York. She lived in what was it, in Brooklyn, someplace real black. They kept her safe because God forbid something happens to her and it brings down the heat on their whole neighborhood. When I live in Washington Heights, If somebody grabbed my girl's purse, the dudes on the block would have chased the guy down. So
I
it's
mean,
down in these parts in Manhattan.
When I was for a lot of the time I lived there, I was married to an Aussie.
Oh.
And I mean,
what was that accent like? Sorry.
The accent was very Aussie. It was very Aussie. More so now that she's back there, and to her credit, away from me. But let's finish this up. Broadway actors Michael Stolberg and John Cardoza, latest victims of New York City crime. Broadway actors, and one of these was in my neighborhood. Broadway actors John Cardoza, currently appearing in The Notebook, and Michael Stolberg, who begins previews tonight in Patriots, have become the latest victims in what seems a surge of high-profile crimes in New York City. Neither actor was seriously injured in the separate Easter Sunday incidents. See, I got out just at the right time. Cardoza, who plays younger Noah in the musical based on the Nicholas Sparks novel, wrote in an Instagram story post yesterday that he had been robbed seemingly at gunpoint at a Dunkin' Donuts in the Upper Manhattan neighborhood of Hamilton Heights. That's my neighborhood.
Seemingly? Do they not have a gun?
I am giving away way too much information. I'm going to get a stalker at this rate. In a separate incident, Stolberg...
Well, that Dunkin' Donuts around the corner from you is quite expensive. So I can understand why the guy may have needed...
Keaton will never stop complaining about when we shot the Jose documentary.
I had to pick up coffee and donuts beforehand, so I sent my friend in there for a box of coffee and a dozen donuts. $42.
Wow!
A box of coffee and a dozen donuts in Russell's
so
neighborhood.
that
you know, look
in Harlem.
Look, people have to live, right?
Yeah,
crime is born of desperation, as they say.
Fair enough. In a separate incident, Stolberg was struck with a thrown rock in a random attack near Central Park on the Upper East Side around 8 p.m. Sunday. Now, this is a rare case of a Broadway actor with some balls, because Stolberg chased the alleged assailant, 27-year-old Xavier Israel.
He was Jewish? No, I'm joking.
Probably, IDF. For several blocks until police apprehended and arrested the man. He was charged with assault. So you're getting these very high-profile things, but... I don't know. I mean, my perspective is like the Sex Pistols days. Like, that's New York crime. Like, that's New York when you got... I did not, because I always felt like as a okay, for one thing, I never dressed like I was worth robbing.
Yeah.
I never looked like the person that was worth possibly going to jail for. So I think that was a big part. I looked like a punk from Queens.
Right.
When I would go into the city, as we call it, if you're not from Manhattan. You know, man, I just didn't look like I would never wear jewelry. I never looked worth robbing. So no, I mean, honestly, I have.
Some say you still don't.
Well, no. You know what? You're right. You're right.
Some would say.
Some would say you still don't.
No, but actually, yes, you're right. And I mean, that's definitely personal inclination and taste. Like, I'm not somebody who wants to prim and prep. I just want to grab something, throw it on, and walk out the door.
When I moved from Philly,
but that does not make you look like somebody worth robbing. If you're not, you know, what am I wearing that would make you say, that guy's got money?
Yeah, right. It just depends on crazy attacks or rational attacks. And sure,
crazy shit could happen to anyone. I can say... Yeah, there's a certain element of just random luck in that. I am definitely, if you're from New York, you're a master of no eye contact. Like anybody who grows up in New York, like, yeah, as soon as you feel the crazy, you make yourself invisible.
In New York's about not seeing stuff.
I mean, my dad gave me this advice. I'll pass this along to any white women who are coming to see our live show in New York City in June.
This is really good for promoting the live show.
Yes, really good for promoting. No, but what my dad always told me was walk with purpose. Walk with purpose. Head up, eyes in front of you. You don't have to walk fast like a maniac, but keep a brisk pace and keep your eyes in front of you. And yeah, if somebody starts something, no eye contact, look straight ahead. If you walk fast enough and with enough purpose, then they figure, all right, it's not worth it. Like, you know, I'm not going to catch up to them anyway. It's too hard, right? If you're walking with, you know, if you're taking small steps and looking at the ground, yeah, then you're easy.
I mean, it's crazy to have to even think that way.
Remember that.
They attack small people. Philly, for example.
Dude, I'm 5'5". You show up in New York for a week, they want to take you out. I think it's the gunfighter thing.
No, they don't want to take you out.
Like you don't get any street cred fucking me up.
Nobody
But they take down your big ass. What are you, like 6'4"?
I never have had a problem in New York. Okay, so Philly's a place where they're silly. So you could be way bigger than the dude, and he's gonna go. That was a big story. A bouncer at a pizza place. They'd have a bouncer at a pizza place. The guy came back and stabbed him in his balls with a knife. You know, like that's the kind of common Philly stuff. Like New York, a lot of times I thought I was a cop because I was just tall and white. Like, I'm not the first guy you would pick out. I'm just not. So that's a relative safety.
That's what I would think.
So that's why if you're a girl alone, and now short heterosexual men, like that, they're getting attacked in these areas like way more. It's you know, it's not like some places are like there's no rhyme or reason. People just come at you, and you got to really be afraid of that. That's how I thought Philly was when I was there. This was 20 years ago, and New York always seems safer because I'm just not the. I don't think I'm so tough. I'm just not the first person.
I don't know. Look, man, it's a little weird. You were traveling around. You were in New York. All these women got punched in the head, and it seems to have stopped now. I'm just saying.
Oh, I think the precursor to something hilarious is coming. I think something big's coming.
All right, Keaton, anything?
Nope.
You don't want to complain about what you paid for those bagels one more fucking time? He's been complaining about this shit.
Get over yourself.
He's been complaining about this shit for over a year.
Some people in the chat think I'm lying. I'm not lying. It's $42.
No, he's not lying.
They're asking what box coffee is. It's the box of Joe. So they give you a box with a little plastic thing inside it filled with coffee, and then you pour out.
What's
so it probably
box coffee?
Makes you about 8 cups. No, they put like 8 cups worth of hot coffee in a little plastic thing and put a cardboard box over it. So that's called
basically shooting the Jose documentary.
At the Dunkin' Donuts around the corner from Russell's apartment, where the guy got held up at gunpoint. I'm saying it's such an expensive Dunkin' Donuts. I can understand why you might get robbed in there.
It was okay. The day we shot the Jose documentary, that was basically like if Seinfeld were about radical politics and they were shooting a documentary. It would have been like that. Keaton shows up at my house. You know what they charged me? You know what they charged me for the bagels? It was
the other Seinfeld part is I was supposed to pick him up at 6:30. So, you know, I'm coming from an hour and a half north, so it's not easy to time it to the exact moment I roll up to his door. But I pull up to his door at 6:18. I call him. I say, I'm downstairs. He says, well, I told you 6:30, so I'm not coming down yet. So then I had to leave. So he sends me away. He sends me away because I didn't time it exactly right. So that's when we went to the Dunkin' Donuts.
I wasn't ready
to pick up the coffee. Yeah,
I wasn't ready.
No,
all right,
and that's where we were overcharged.
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
So I want to tell you about Field of Greens. Now, you're supposed to get 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, which I guarantee you I do not. But if you take this, you can get them. Take a scoop of this, you put it in water, you put it in a smoothie. When I put it in water, I like the way it tastes. Now, I say it tastes like iced tea and fresh cut grass, but in the best way possible, fresh cut grass. Like, really does. Like, I even like the smell of it.
It smells great. You can smell it right here.
I love it. You can smell it. It's going through the room right now. So this is Field of Greens. And if you're not getting your servings of fruit and vegetables, this is a great way to get it. So this is real fruit and vegetables selected It's not chemicals or whatever. This is actual freeze dried, and you scoop it out just like this. Get a scoop of it, boom, you put it in, and I love the smell of it. Anyway, it's fantastic stuff. It's a great way to get your 5 to 7 servings of fruit and vegetables, which I do not get. But if you take this, you can get it. And when Misha was taking it, she said she had better energy from it. So isn't that fantastic? Now, I quit smoking pot, and it's really messed me up. So I can't tell you anything about how I feel about anything. But this is it's an organic fruit and vegetable. This was medically chosen to support heart and vital organ health. So there you go. Field of Greens. And I'm going to give you, I got a deal for you. You want 15% off your first order and free rush shipping? Visit fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code Jimmy. That's promo code Jimmy at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code Jimmy. 15% off your first order plus free rush shipping. And if you want to get better energy through the day, they claim it helps you sleep better, gives you better hair, helps your digestion, feels better. I'm telling you, I don't get my fruits and vegetables. This is the way to get your fruits and vegetables. Field of Greens, real, organic superfood.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit